Mercedes is confident a global computer systems outage, triggered by a team partner, won't affect on-track running at the Hungaroring. On Friday morning, a cybersecurity company and Mercedes partner CrowdStrike triggered a global computer systems outage that is causing issues for industry. Helmut Marko has bluntly told Sergio Perez that his Red Bull contract is of little value when in this form, fearing unrest within Red Bull employees whose bonuses risk being directly impacted. Just like Lewis Hamilton did previously at Mercedes, Charles Leclerc said he has been using extreme setups amid a difficult spell for himself and Ferrari. While a Barcelona upgrade produced the numbers which Ferrari expected, what could not be anticipated in the wind tunnel was the bouncing issues which came with the upgrade, triggering Ferrari to return to their Imola spec. Verstappen was extremely generous when asked about Checo. During pre-race media sessions ahead of the Hungarian Grand Prix, he denied that Checo has somehow given up, or has stopped providing feedback. Verstappen said, "At the end of the day we are teammates, and we always try to give our feedback to the car, and that's also what Checo has been doing, so he's been always fully contributing to that." Speaking to media ahead of the 2024 Hungarian Grand Prix, Pierre Gasly said there are three good options for his 2025 Alpine teammate, perhaps giving Carlos Sainz a fresh shot at a good seat. When asked who he wanted as his teammate for 2025, Gasly played it cool, responding, I think Alpine, the team has good options on the table. At the end of the day it's not up to me. The fastest guy out there is assumed to be Carlos Sainz." Max Verstappen has admitted it will be difficult to call how the rest of the F1 2024 season will unfold if the latest Red Bull RB20 upgrade does not deliver as expected at the Hungarian Grand Prix. The RB20 has struggled over recent months, with Verstappen winning 3 of the last 7 races stretching back to the Miami Grand Prix in early May, with Verstappen's teammate Sergio Perez scoring just 15 points across the last 6 races. McLaren are growing in the Alpine F1 team has moved to stop the possibility of Esteban Ocon joining a rival team as early as this year. According to a report, Ocon is due to leave the Enstone-based squad at the end of the current campaign, bringing an end to his 5-season stint with the team. McLaren's Lando Norris has said he understands Zak Brown's critical position on Red Bull, with the team CEO at odds with Christian Horner. Heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, Brown gave an interview to the UK's Independent, in which he also said Red Bull is afraid of Verstappen and spoke out on why he's so critical of Horner. He said, "I only respond to things when I think they're not right. I speak up on issues. It just seems I have more issues with Christian more than others, because he says and does stuff I think is wrong." McLaren has reportedly received an FIA reminder to cover a hole in the brake drum after practice to comply with the regulations, after Red Bull apparently raised the alarm. Both McLaren and Red Bull will hope to chase victory this weekend at the Hungarian Grand Prix, but ahead of the on-track action commencing, a feature of the McLaren brake drum continues to attract attention. Adrian Newey has confirmed that he will officially stop work with Red Bull in March 2025 as speculation over his next move persists. Red Bull announced in May that Newey will leave the organization in the first quarter of 2025, having played an instrumental role in the team's success with the likes of Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. Newey has shed more light on the exact date of his exit and explained how his responsibilities with the team have changed since his departure was made public. Christian Horner has admitted there's a chance Red Bull junior driver Isaac Ager could be promoted to F1 with the brand next year, describing him as an outstanding talent. The French-Algerian racer 19 joined Red Bull's development program 2.5 years ago, having enjoyed a successful karting career and finished third in the 2020 French F4 Championship. Red Bull's chief engineer Paul Monahan confirmed the package would be split across its 2 cars for the rest of the weekend. The difference between the 2 cars is mainly the sidepod shape, Monahan clarified. With Sergio Perez running an alternate configuration to Verstappen, Monahan has denied it will have a detrimental impact on its run plan for the weekend. George Russell and Lewis Hamilton each won one of the last 2 Grands Prix, and Russell explains why Mercedes are suddenly F1 race winners again. He said, "We both have much more confidence in the car. We can push it closer to its limit. Our tires are feeling better when we drive in the race. We can manage tires easier on the edge. It just has a bit of a snowball effect in terms of its performance. This small upgrade has turned into something quite large in terms of lap time, because we can exploit the car more, and that's the biggest thing about having that confidence beneath us." A simple Red Bull decision to axe Perez and promote Lawson would put the 21-year-old into F1's dominant car of this rules era. That's quite the opportunity. There has been contact between Sauber Audi representatives in the Lawson camp, as he is seen as a serious backup option should long-term target Sainz join another team, as has seemed increasingly likely over recent months. Carlos Sainz set the pace during the opening practice session of the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, with the Ferrari man leading the way from the Red Bull of Max Verstappen and fellow Scuderia driver Charles Leclerc. It was a sweltering start as the session got underway, with a stream of cars heading out to put some early laps on the board in the warm conditions. Some of these, including the RB20 of Sergio Perez, were sporting aero rakes to test out how their latest upgrades were performing. Ricciardo also insisted it is not just he and Perez facing uncertain futures, as Marco has further suggested he would like to put Liam Lawson in the RB seat alongside Tsunoda for 2025. The 8-time Grand Prix winner remains confident that if he can extract what performance he feels is within, then good things could happen. He said it is not just Checo and I. There are probably other drivers who are a bit unsure about their future. I'm going to go really broad now, even Max wants to kick ours, so we all want to do it. But yes, there is more on the line for some of us. Haas have announced that Kevin Magnussen will leave the team at the end of the F1 2024 season. Magnussen returned to F1 with Haas in 2022, memorably netting a surprise pole position for the sprint race in Brazil, but has scored just 8 points across the last 2 seasons. Haas have confirmed that Magnussen will leave at the end of the year, with Esteban Ocon widely expected to be confirmed as Oliver Behrman's F1 2025 teammate in due course. Lewis Hamilton's announcement ahead of this season, that he will join Ferrari next season on a multi-year deal, sent shockwaves throughout F1, but after hitting the halfway point of the current campaign, has he made the right decision? Many assumed that after working with Mercedes since he was just 13 years old, Hamilton would end his career as a driver for the Silver Arrows. Based on how the Brackley-based team started the season, Hamilton's choice seemed like a stroke of genius. Ferrari flew out of the starting blocks and took the fight to Red Bull, something which must have caught Hamilton's attention whilst he was struggling to get to grips with Mercedes' current package. As we all know, situations change rapidly in F1, and it is Mercedes that now has the better car, and by some margin it would appear. Hamilton finally ending his 946-day winless streak 2 weeks ago at the British Grand Prix was one of the most emotional moments in recent times, although it led to a key question being raised. Is Hamilton doing the right thing by leaving? There are 2 ways of looking at that question, starting on why Hamilton might have made a mistake. Mercedes is currently the strongest it has been since 2021, after the 7-time world champion crossed the line at Silverstone to claim a 104th career victory. His emotional outbursts and tears over the radio gave the impression that it suddenly dawned on the team and driver that it was potentially their last win together. For someone who has been supported by the same company since he was 13, saying goodbye despite his age will be one of the most difficult moments of his life. Arguably, that farewell will be even harder should Mercedes' current form continue. Team boss Toto Wolff has proudly proclaimed Mercedes is back after finally understanding the data, which has been troubling it since the current regulations were introduced in 2022. With more upgrades to come before 2025, there is a genuine possibility that Mercedes could enter next season, which will see minimal developments. With the strongest package, as things stand, Mercedes are only getting stronger, whilst the opposite can be said for Ferrari. After a stunning start to the season which saw both Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc claim victories in the opening 8 rounds, Ferrari's campaign has turned completely on its head. The Italians are on a miserable run of form, linked to an upgrade package introduced for the Spanish Grand Prix. That upgrade has demoted Ferrari from second in the pecking order to a concerning 4th behind Red Bull, McLaren and Mercedes. Worryingly, Ferrari is in a race against time to solve the problems before the end of the season because, as mentioned, minimal upgrades will be introduced next year due to the fact full attention will be on building the new cars for the 2026 regulation change. If Ferrari fails to solve its problems before the end of this season, then Hamilton can forget winning the title next year. Meanwhile, Mercedes could have a car capable of championship success again. As things stand, Hamilton will slip backwards in the pecking order when he joins Ferrari. On the flip side, 1 year of sacrifice could work hugely in Hamilton's favor. Of course, there is the chance Ferrari will fix its problems and return to a position where it can challenge for podiums and wins. Even if that does not happen and next year is a disaster, 2026 looks very promising. Hamilton surprised everyone in 2012 by announcing he would leave a strong McLaren team for Mercedes that was, at the time, mediocre. The 2013 season was average by Hamilton's standards, but he was at Mercedes ready for the following year when the hybrid power units were introduced. Of course, this marked the start of the Brackley-based outfit's dominance. There is a chance Hamilton could pull off a similar move with Ferrari, renowned for developing impressive engines. If the Italian manufacturer masters the 2026 power unit regulations, Hamilton will have an incredible chance at securing an unprecedented 8th Drivers' Championship, although for the Briton, 2026 is not the only reason to leave Mercedes for Ferrari. Despite signing a multi-year deal, the 39-year-old is approaching the end of his career. With this his final chance to race in red, it is something he has always expressed a desire to do, following in the footsteps of Michael Schumacher, Niki Lauda, Alberto Ascari, Juan Manuel Fangio and so many other F1 greats. He also has the chance to further write his name into the history books and claim the Maranello-based team's first Drivers' Championship since 2007, and its first title overall since 2008. Joining Ferrari also offers the chance to reunite with team principal Frederic Vasseur, someone he has a strong relationship with after racing for the Frenchman's teams in GP3 and GP2. It is also a completely different scenario for Hamilton, who has only raced in F1 for teams based in the United Kingdom. Now he has the chance to experience a very different culture before retiring, and perhaps return the most famous manufacturer in F1 history back to the top.